So
Keep it PG.
yeah, keep
please.
it PG.
So.
Front row seat.
Front row.
Now you know this one.
All right, you can take it.
All right. We'll go ahead and get everything going here. So, do we have anybody new this year that's never played with us? No? Awesome. I don't have to go through the league. Everybody knows basically history of the league. We were founded in 1960. We're coming up on our 60-year anniversary next year. Reminder, we are run by volunteers. We don't own the fields. We lease the fields from the city. We don't run concessions. We don't receive revenue from any concessions. That's all the city. So if you have any problems with concessions, just please call the city, not us, because there's nothing we can do about it. So unless you guys got more detailed questions about the league, then we'll just go ahead and get started since you've been around.
Basically, what we'll do is we'll run through the rules. If you're all been with us already, it doesn't change with the exception of adding the machine in.
Yep.
So it's very similar to last year at the coach pitch. And when we're done, if you don't need catcher gear, you can go out there and get your stuff from Teresa and head out the door. If you need catcher gear, hang here. We'll get you a clipboard. Take care of it from there. So get it all knocked out in one shot. So.
Something different this year. Seems to be working pretty good.
So far.
Yep.
Nobody's complained too bad. You want to take the first half or anything?
Yeah, so basically it's no different than if you played 7U last year, if you played coach pitch. The games are 1 hour or 5 innings, whichever occur first. It is a drop dead, so when the timer goes off, the batter in the box will finish his or her at bat, and then the game is over. We do that for a couple of reasons. One is the field you guys play on have no lights, so in the beginning of the season it's really tight to get 2 games, and then as the season gets a little bit longer, it's easier to get 2 games. So if games drag out more than an hour, then you put the second game behind, and then now they're playing in the dark. So we try to enforce that hour rule on them. The 15-player limit, you don't need to worry about that. That's an office thing. Number C is also the same, 5 runs or 3 outs, whichever occur first. The other change is you don't get to bat off of a tee like you did last year if you were coach pitch. 6-player minimum, same as last year. Just need 6 players to start and continue game. Where are we going? Teams will bat roster, same as last year. Again, there's really not much in here that's changed. 5 pitches after the 5th pitch is not hit. In the fair territory, the batter's out. Dead ball rule, we'll cover that again here shortly. We'll pull the screen up, and just so we try to get everybody on the same page here about the dead ball. Yeah, you got a question?
There will still be no changes in the lineup once it's handed to the umpire ground rules, right?
No, you can add players to the end of the
I
lineup.
mean add, but move them.
Move them in batting order?
Right.
No.
So,
Yeah, once you put them on the roster, they continue that batting order. You can't shift them
so
around.
if somebody's not there, they definitely should not be on that.
No, they need to.
No.
If you list all 12 of your players out there, and then 2 of them aren't there, you need to scratch them off and then add them to the bottom of the lineup sheet when they show up. Yes. Yeah.
Sorry, is the 15-player new? Has it changed?
No, we've had that rule has been in place. We've been around since 2003, 2004, and it's always been there. Mm-hmm. So basically, at that time back then, it was
They built the teams.
They
with
built the
15
teams.
back then.
Worried,
Yeah.
We already have 13 on our.
We-
Do you know if you're going to be doing that
No,
this year? 'Cause
no, we
that
don't.
was an issue for you.
No,
No.
we never do actually.
We haven't.
She might, Teresa might send you an email or something
Yeah.
like earlier begging, hey, anybody needs somebody, but we'll never force a player on your
No.
team. So
No. And even when you get 13, we don't really recommend carrying more than 13
Yeah, I turned
because
down a few
you'll never get them
hundred, so I just
through the
didn't know.
lineup. So
yeah, years ago they built 15, and it's just terrible. They don't get that much batting time, and
Yeah.
it's difficult to get playing time. And even with 10, now you got 5 on the bench, and
yeah.
I
that's
totally agree with
yeah,
you.
it's
That's-
too-
I just
so-
wanted
too
the
much
way it was,
stress.
just like, you can
Yeah.
put them on your team,
Yeah.
and you don't get a choice. So.
Yeah, we've talked about taking that rule out because it really doesn't apply anymore. It's just
Okay.
something that we just never
kind of
got
like the
around
no
to do.
composite bats. We all know
Almost up.
everybody ends up having somebody swinging one, so we're still trying to debate what we're going to do about that
Yeah.
down the road. But typically, there's always somebody out there, so we get a,
Yeah,
and then you're counting on 14-year-olds to check bats.
yeah.
Have the opposite coach check bats.
So on the batting order, if a kid comes up to bat, that's like, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom right now. Is that an out, or do you just skip this turn?
To me, usually
Yeah.
at this age level, just skip their bat and let the
Yeah,
next
we
one
told
bat.
the umpires in a situation like that at this age, just let them go to the bathroom. I mean, you're there to train.
Next thing you
and
know, you're going to
learn.
have a little one out there trying to hold it so they
Yeah.
can bat, and then they get on first base, and I've seen it happen.
So,
So it's just,
yeah,
it's just not right, So
yeah, that'll get more when you get up into player pitch that they'll start enforcing rules like that. So at this age, it's really not something we want to enforce because it is a training league at this point still. So, where were we at? 5 pitches. We'll cover the dead ball. Like I said, we'll cover the dead. We'll pull the field up, and we'll cover that again just so. I mean, we cover it every year with the umpires, and we cover it every year in here where the ball gets called dead, and somewhere between the start of the season and the end of the season, it gets all confused, and nobody really knows when it's supposed to be called or where it's supposed to be called, and it gets called for different games for different people. So we'll remind everybody what the actual rule is, and hopefully we can get at least a half a season in by playing by that rule. So we'll see. Players are not allowed to steal or lead off, so they got to hold their base till the ball is hit. Again, it's one of those things at this age. I mean, you guys been around these kids, you're going to see them wander off the base a little bit. The umpires aren't going to call that if they're over there dancing around. I mean, but if the kid comes out and intentionally takes a lead off and gets down in a ready position, 2 or 3 feet off the back, they might say something then, but they're not going to call it if the kid's just wandering around off the base. So, again, it's a training league. So, and let's try to keep it that way.
There's still no advances on overthrows?
Not
No.
at this age, no.
8U boys when you get up there.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's in my head. When does pitching start?
9U.
At 9?
Yeah.
I
9U
kind
or
of, I
10U
kind of
girls.
miss the days when it was 8U. I know you remember those days. They
Yeah.
threw an 8.5-inch ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, we seem to have less issues than we do when you have 8U machine pitch.
Yeah.
That's just me.
Yep. Where'd we go?
It is dead when the ball hits the machine. If it hits you, it's live.
Or an umpire.
Or an umpire. Or another coach or parent.
Or the bucket.
Or the bucket?
Or the bucket,
Or the
it's dead,
bucket.
yeah. Always try to pull that bucket back in behind the machine. That's just one less thing for it to hit. So,
Yeah, it's kind of bad when the ball hits the bucket and 5 balls go flying all over the field,
And then all the kids are chasing all the
Yeah.
balls. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, just kind of tuck that bucket in behind the machine and it'll help. So, where are we at? No bunting. Obviously, we don't want kids squaring around the bunt to pull the runner or pull the fielders in. What did you do here, Rod? Oh, you
Coach
did the
umpire's
coach.
already live ball.
Okay.
You're on defensive position.
Defensive. Again, it's the same thing as last year. That didn't change. You'll bat the order that you handed in. 10 players on a field at a time. 1 plays pitcher, 1 plays catcher, 4 infielders, and all others in the outfield. If your catcher doesn't want to go out for some reason, they don't want to get dressed up in catcher's gear or whatever, that's fine, but you can't put that player in the infield or outfield as an additional player. So they have to play. If you don't have a catcher, then you just have 9 players on the field. Okay. Try to keep your infield and outfield separate. A lot of times we see at this age that you'll get your infielders lined up and your outfielders will start creeping in, and next thing you know, everybody's lined up on the base and you've got 9 kids making an arc around the base. So try to make sure you keep a little bit of distance between your infield and outfield just to kind of establish that a little bit. Let's see. Pitcher has to be positioned on the first base side of the machine. That keeps them away from the wheel. And all the kids have to wear some sort of face mask helmet That can either be, if you don't have one, let us know, we'll get you one tonight. Basically, that's like a helmet with a face guard on it, or what's the other thing, the game faces that don't have the helmet, that they're plastic covers, them are okay also.
Also, they can wear the face things without the helmet?
Yeah, you can wear the game face without the helmets,
Okay.
if you'd prefer that. We just want something to protect them because they're so close up to that bat. I mean, you're only 35 foot away, and a lot of these kids aren't experienced enough to know to get out of the way if a ball line drive comes at them. So, you know, we want a little bit of protection for them.
Is that face provided in our equipment?
You'll get a helmet with a face mask on it, yes. Yeah. Yep. All right, Coaching Malcolm, you want to take that one?
Offense, you get 4, 1 at first, 1 at third, 1 feeding the machine, and 1 behind the plate to help with catch balls and position the batters. Defense, you only get 2. Please stay in the outfield. They'll bring a bucket up with balls and everything when the umpires come up. Pitching machine may be adjusted at the discretion of the umpire. Pitching speed is to be set at 34 with the machine at 35 feet. Naturally, there's going to be times you're going to have to adjust that depending on the humidity, the outdoor weather, everything else. All
Wind.
makes a change. Wind, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, some days you may be at 32, some you may be at 36 or 38. Just kind of depends on the weather.
And then anything not covered on this sheet is in the rule book, the
This one.
OCAC rule book that you'll get given to you. That's going to basically involve ejections, punishments, things of that nature, which I know we won't have any of those problems with you all. So. Right?
Hopefully. Well,
You'd bear with us. This is like our
seventh?
seventh meeting in
Yeah.
2 weeks or something.
Yeah. About 3 years ago, we used to have a big meeting that we had all the managers come up to the high school for the whole league. We found that to be very ineffective. By breaking it down to age groups, we found that we can get more one-on-one with you guys, answer more questions, because hardly anybody would ask questions in a room full of 200 people. So by breaking it down, we get more of a one-on-one. We can get questions answered better. So now's your time to ask questions if you got them. Okay?
Good question. Say you start off with like 7 players, or you have 7 players because people are on vacation or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have to address a catcher, or can we just keep 2 in the outfield?
Yeah, you can put 2 in the outfield and not worry about a catcher, because you're going to have a parent or coach back there helping you shag balls anyhow.
No, naturally, the parent,
Yeah.
coach that ends up getting the ball, they can't tag
Yeah.
anybody out at home.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So. Yep.
Not a question, it's a suggestion.
Mm-hmm.
I saw it happen last year, it was a kid on another team, but the catcher's equipment that you guys provide doesn't come with throw guards. I mean, it has a little short
Yeah.
extension. I would suggest that if you guys don't provide that, everybody get that, because I saw a kid last year get hit in the throat, and it wasn't good.
Came up underneath.
Came up underneath of it.
It was
Yeah.
a foul ball.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, I've got one for
Yeah.
my girls, but for these kids,
Yeah.
everybody needs to have it, because their reflexes aren't good enough. to
They're
protect
slow.
themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something we didn't get with the equipment, was the throat guards on those. So,
I mean, it's just,
yeah.
they don't cost but $12, and
Yeah.
they're way more than worth it.
Yeah.
Right. Is everybody before we pull that whole field up, do we need to go over when the ball's dead when it comes in? Is everybody pretty clear on that?
It's
The
on the
infield, infield is the
The baseline.
baseline? Okay. That way we don't waste everybody's time
Yeah.
pulling it up for nothing.
Yeah.
So. And we all know you only get the base that they have possession of. Right?
There is no halfway point or three-quarter point. It is whatever base, unless they're forced. They get the base they've last had possession of. Everybody shifts back. Okay?
Can I ask a question about what constitutes a dead ball after it passes the third base line? We had a player last year on the other team that hit it. It was a fair ball.
Mm-hmm.
But the other team's fans, I guess, were kind of curved in with their seats, and it actually went through the fans' seats, and they kept letting him run the bases. And of course, my girls are like, for 7-year-olds, they're not gonna run between other
Yeah.
opposing fans and go after the ball.
Were
So
they
it's
on the
kind of an issue.
outside or the inside of the foul line?
It stayed fair, but they were really, like, once it passed third, but they
And it
were
went-
really
went out.
curved in on the field.
Oh, the parents
The
were
parents,
saying,
so
yeah, they
it
shouldn't be
went
there.
through their seats,
Yeah.
and my girls are just kind of standing there, and they kept running through paces.
Yeah, we need to tell parents.
Yeah, they can't loop
to be
in
out there.
past the foul lines.
Yeah, they shouldn't even be
Yeah.
in that area.
Yeah.
Is
So.
that something we should be checking before the games?
Well, I mean, I would mention it to them. We'll mention it to the umpires also to watch
Yeah,
and make
we
sure
got
that
a
the parents are
meeting
pushed
tomorrow
back and not pulled in. I didn't realize they were pulling in like that. So.
That far.
Yeah.
Yeah, they shouldn't be out there.
Yeah, because at that point they're in the field of play.
Because technically that was a live ball.
They were still on the outside of the baseline per
Yeah.
se, but the ball kind of curved, and it went
Yeah.
over in that direction.
Went
So
over
it
that
was hard.
direction.
We were like, we thought that
Yeah.
the ref should have
So-
called dead ball, you know.
Out of
like
play at that point.
Yeah, out of play.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
They probably should have. Especially if they were on the outside of the foul lines,
Yes.
anywhere out there, and it went around third base. It went past third base to stay fair and then curved
Yes.
out and went through the
That's exactly
fans.
what happened.
It should have been called out of play at that point, yeah.
We play 8U machine pitch games,
Uh-huh.
and we had quite a bit of problems last year with the machines.
Okay.
I didn't know if you guys had, changed maybe the approach and how they're set up initially or anything like that going into this year. 'Cause 4 out of our 10 games last year, we either didn't have a machine or we had to turn the machine off and go to coach pitch. And while that's okay,
Yeah.
really trying to, at this age, prepare them for 10U. A lot of the parents on the team were frustrated. I know I called and spoke to Rob multiple times
Yeah.
about it, but, one time, the generator didn't have gas, we couldn't get generator in. Second time, started with gas, didn't finish with gas. The other couple times, machine was all over the place. Up, down, that sort of thing. So, I just wonder if, obviously you gotta fine tune it right before the game, weather conditions change and that sort of thing. Has there been any thought to at least getting it kind of bore sighted, to where, you turn it on, make sure it's got gas in it before you drop it off, throw a few balls in it to make sure it's close?
One of the problems with that is once a machine's set up, they're sitting out there for 2 or 3 hours unattended.
Got it,
And we've had kids actually go out and run the machines,
okay.
go out and move the machines. I know usually Rob will make sure they're full of gas before they go out.
Yeah,
One thing I did see last year, probably 90% of the time I was called to a field because the generator didn't run, there's a vent cap on the top. Got closed off. And it would run for about 3 to 5 minutes and it would just quit running. It wouldn't start. And all you gotta do is just open that vent cap off or take the gas cap loose a little bit and you'll hear it suck air in there. And then they'll start right up. The other thing was there's also a fuel shut off. And again, you get kids out there that think it's good, funny to go turn the fuel off on the generators. So, I know we did put 3 new generators out there last year, and we had one that had issues that we had to send back to the shop, but we had 3 new generators and 2 new machines, right? Yeah. So, I mean,
One thing I noticed, just food for thought.
Yeah.
I noticed that, a lot of times when we have problems, it would be, you get 5 balls, it would be 2 or 3 balls that in particular you could zero in as the ones having the problems. If you looked at them, they're scuffed up, the threading, the seams were frayed on them.
yeah.
So, a couple times we had some brand new ones, they're the same exact kind, we swap them out just to have consistent with both coaching permission.
Yeah.
So, I don't know how often we look at the condition of the balls, but, that's just,
Yeah, I don't know,
rather-
that's,
really only pain point that
Yeah.
my team's had.
We did that a few times too, where we just basically take 2 or 3 balls out and basically just play the game with 2 or 3
2 or
balls.
3 balls, yeah. Yeah, you have to watch if you throw a different type of ball in there because it coats the wheel, and once that wheel starts getting coated, it's a problem to sand it, and then the ball just starts getting erratic at that point. So, I mean, I try to keep them as clean as I can. Again, we're volunteering, and I'm doing the best I can to get up there and keep things
Yeah, that's
going.
the other problem we run into. Kids get up
Yeah.
there and throw different balls through that thing
Yeah, yeah.
before.
I've had to run
And
high
you can
school
tell
kids
when you
off
look at
using
the
the
wheel.
machine up there because they think it's fun to take their balls up there and go do batting practice. So,
And I usually try to drive by through there or whatever, but
Yeah.
it's still.
I mean, we could probably ask the city guys to maybe take another look or drive through on their way through there just to double check everything, but
as they leave.
yeah. Yeah, other than that, I mean, I don't know what else we could do.
Has there been any thought to discretion for that first batter that goes out for the pitching machine? Because I'm guessing half our games last year, my first at bat, my first batter of either team, didn't get a single ball that was even hittable. Like the first 5 pitches were so.
Or you guys
I
are
know that
throwing.
you
You
had the
guys are
same
throwing.
problem.
You guys are throwing
And
some
this-
before
yeah,
you
we're
go up, aren't
actually,
you?
Like trying to get the machine set before the game and everything in that first batter. It seemed like half our games, and and they come off just like they're so excited
Yeah.
to be first at bat, and then to not even get anything, it just
So
kills their.
you still trying to adjust it at the first batter then?
Yes,
Trying to
we're
get
still
zeroed
trying
in?
to adjust
Yeah.
it, but 5 pitches is 5 pitches, so
Yeah.
and they didn't even get a chance to swing at
Yeah.
anything decent. Not
I
just
mean,
for our team, it happened to the other teams.
Yeah, it should be pretty close before you
would
ever
have
get
it.
in there.
You would have it tuned before the batter
We
went
thought
up.
we did.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, but they were
No.
very erratic last year. We had multiple problems in our games that we played each other.
And see, it just isn't. It's just odd.
Yeah.
You know.
Now, are you putting them in as a four seam? Because you got to feed them in a certain way, otherwise they start throwing
Trying
really.
every single
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, because I mean, if you don't get them in as a four seam, they'll just start going all different places, curveballs and drops, and yeah, I don't know. I mean,
Because it'd be identical machine, and I can go up and throw 10 perfectly straight through it. I've done it before. So, or a same identical machine and to put a baseball shoot on it and it's throwing perfect. So I honestly don't know what the issue is.
But is
We
it
tried to
fine
figure it
after
out
that
last
then?
year. We talked about it last year.
Once you
when
get it
called
dialed in, is it good the rest of the
We
game?
never had a pitching machine last year that consistently pitched the entire
Yeah.
game.
Which
they'll
which
change
makes
throughout the game.
absolutely no
Yeah, but I
sense.
mean, like some games it was.
It really doesn't.
They might get 2 that were worth hitting, and the others were
Yeah.
a waste.
I mean, it's an identical machine.
Yeah.
There would be no change. It makes no sense. So
No, I mean,
now some of the issues with the float valve and all that, the gas
Yeah, that's what I was
valve,
trying to
that was
think
one
of.
different issue. But there was times that I'd get a call and I'd go up and run it. It'd throw straight every time. The next morning, and nothing changed from the night before. So I honestly don't know how to help sometimes with that because it just doesn't add up. If I could duplicate the problem, it'd be a different scenario. But I'd literally have gone up the next day with the same machine and the same chute and the same bucket of balls and had absolutely no issue that morning. So I don't know.
I know the one problem I had with one of the generators, there was a loose connection on the inside, and the voltage would actually drop to the machine, and the machine would slow down a little bit. I'll double check all the generators and
We
make.
had that issue too. The machine speed was changing throughout.
Yeah, I'll double check all the generators and make sure that that they're all putting out a consistent voltage. Because I know the one, that's why I was having problems with, because the voltage would drop down to about 75 volts, so the machine would slow down, and then it would make connection again, it would speed back up. So I'll double check that voltage on all those just to make sure that they're
That's
all.
why I liked 8U player pitch.
Now, can we, before the game starts, like take a couple of our boys to set the machine up? Mm-hmm. We can do that.
Yeah, a lot of times.
There's a lot of different ways you can do it. I've seen teams take a bat, put it,
Yeah, hold the bat out over it.
Hold the bat out. I've seen the teams take a bat, put it on home plate, standing it upright, and set that machine until you hit that bat that's standing upright with a ball. Yeah, so a couple of different ways you can do it.
You know, I know we don't like to change the machine every batter or everything, but I mean, if it gets really out of whack, then the umpire should be letting you at least get it dialed back in without counting the pitches against you. You know, I mean, if it's constantly thrown over their head or on the ground, then it needs to be dialed back in. So, I mean, we'll mention that to the Pee Wee umpires again, that if it's really out of whack, that they don't need to be counting those. Right? Okay.
Yeah, we're meeting. We got a live feed with them tomorrow.
Yeah.
We can talk about it. Anything else? Schedule should be, hopefully barring any problems, will be posted Friday. I worked on getting all the player pitch and all the other ones done first because they start April 8th. You all don't start till May. So by the end of the day Friday, they should be up.
Like you said, the schedules, but it's okay.
By the end of the day Friday. Almost all your games are going to be on field 5, just so you know. So We're gonna try and avoid 6 altogether, because that is nothing but a flood pit. So we'd rather move all the coach pitch over to 7 and play girls and boys over on field 5. So, not to mention 6 and 7 we lose, midway around June, we lose on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays for the City League. So we put you over on 5, and we can play Monday through Friday and don't have any issues. So. But that is the plan.
Covered the dead ball, or I think everybody knows that now.
I think they know it all already, so they're all
All right.
pretty good, so we won't keep them on anything.
Okay.
Just remember first name, last name on the lineups, please.
Numbers.
Numbers.
Home team, please pull the bases. Throw them in the middle of the field, if you would, please.
Oh, I'd have to look.
Yeah, by the
I've stared
machine.
at so many schedules, man.
If
I'm
you're on
lucky
field
to
2 in the dugout, but on the other field, just throw them by the machine, because on the lower fields, we don't have cover, so I have to pick all the bases up every night from down there. So if you just put them in by the machines, then... and then I can just pull up one spot and load everything up.
Yeah, by the end, it's almost all a blur, just so you know. I can't even stare at that monitor for so many weeks. That's why it was kind of nice to get out over the weekend.
It was a good day.
Until it got
was.
cold.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Yeah, so.
Better than Sunday though.
Yeah. So,
Yep.
well, perfect. So if you don't need gear, if you got gear still from last year, you can go get your stuff and she'll take care of you. And otherwise, we'll get some clipboards together and
Yep.
you good?
Get you some. Yeah. Unless you guys got more questions, I think we're done. Okay.
No rain this year?
Yeah.